Welcome back to another episode of Shifting Schools. If you're joining us for the first time, welcome. You've caught us in the middle of our mini-series on generative AI in higher education and its impact on the K-12 classroom. In today's episode, we dive into the research being done to create generative AI tools revolutionizing education. AmplifyLearn.ai is the research arm out of the University of Washington here in my own backyard, and their AI bot for educators called Colleague.ai. First, we'll explore how AmplifyLearn.ai is conducting critical research to ensure AI tools meet the actual needs of educators and students alike. You'll hear about how these tools are not just about efficiency, they're designed to amplify both the quality and equity of education. Then we'll be discussing Colleague.ai, an AI assistant that's helping K-12 teachers streamline lesson plans, grading, and more, all for free and based on research. Imagine being able to get back valuable time in your day to focus on what matters most, your students, and know you are using a research-based AI bot to support you in your work. To help us navigate this fascinating intersection of AI and education, I'm thrilled to welcome Dr. Min Sun. I first met Dr. Sun in supporting the creation of the state guidance for K-12 districts here in the state of Washington. Dr. Sun was on the committee of educators and researchers the state put together in support of creating the guidance. Dr. Sun is a professor of education at the University of Washington, and through AmplifyLearn.ai, a research and creator of Colleague.ai. She's dedicated her career to researching how AI and machine learning can enhance teaching and learning, while also creating tools that are accessible and equitable. With her background in education policy and learning engineering, she's on the cutting edge of AI's role in K-12 education. But before we jump in, don't forget to check out our free guides in supporting you with AI in your classroom over at our Shifting Schools website. Perfect for those looking to get started with AI tools in your own classroom and help you scaffold learning with students. Of course, you can find all our free guides at shiftingschools.com under the free guide link in the menu bar. Now, before we dive into today's episode with Dr. Min Sun, here's a quick word from today's show sponsors. Discover the power of acknowledgement with Libra. In a world where every staff member's dedication shapes the future, recognizing their efforts becomes our mission. Libra transforms your school into a place where achievements, big and small, are celebrated daily, creating a ripple effect of motivation and pride. Join the recognition revolution with Libra, where every achievement is a cause for celebration. For more information and a free demo, contact me at jeff@shiftingschools.com today. Looking for a place to connect with fellow educators, share ideas, and grow together? Well, welcome to Camp Shifting Schools. It's the free, vibrant community where educators like you can learn, network, and collaborate. With the fall of X, formerly Twitter, finding a trusted space is more important than ever. Join Trisha and I for exclusive courses, webinars, and Ask Me Anything sessions designed just for educators like you. Let's build a better future for education together. Visit camp.shiftingschools.com and become part of the camp community today. And without further ado, here is Dr. Min Sun from the University of Washington. All right. Welcome back to the Shifting Schools podcast. I have been looking forward to having this interview for some time now. I'm so excited to be joined by Dr. Min Sun, who is a professor of education in the College of Education at the University of Washington. She also was part of the committee or group here in the state of Washington that helped to create the guidance, which is where we met. creating the guidance here for Washington State. And Dr. Minsun, you have just such incredible stuff to share that I'm so excited to get you on the podcast and just to have others learn about the work that you are doing, to learn about some of the things that you're involved with, and just to get us all, I think, excited. Every time I talk to you, I just get more and more excited about where AI is going. And I think that's my favorite part.
Thank you so much, Jeff. And the feeling is definitely mutual. Every time when I talk with you, I learned some very key talking points. When I share about AI with another group of audience, I just paraphrase what you said. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes, not problem. Well, let's get started by talking about the research arm that you were involved with at the University of Washington called AmplifyLearn.ai. Can you talk a little bit about what is the aim of AmplifyLearn.ai and what's your hopes or support for K-12 education and all around this initiative?
Yeah, thank you. AI is a center we founded in 2022. And our mission is to harness the power of AI to amplify both the quality and equity of teaching and learning. The center has 4 strands of work. The first strand of work is conduct scientific research. We fine-tune and develop artificial intelligence, machine learning, short for AI, now by embedding the domain knowledge of effective teaching and learning into the latest technology development. We also conduct research about K-12 schools' adoption of AI, and we conduct a study to identify effective design features of AI-powered education technology product. And because we wanted to center the whole discussion and ultimately utilizing the latest technology to improve teachers' productivity, to ultimately enhance the students' learning outcome. So that is the first strand of work in the center. The second strand of work is about technology development. We actually design, test, operate education technology platform by embedding what we learned through the research into the technology development. We offer, for example, Colleague.ai to K-12 educators, and we're in the process of developing a student-facing version as well. This type of technology development, we oftentimes in cooperation with tech private companies. For example, for Colleague.ai, we co-developed with Hands-on Innovation LLC, which is a private tech company. The third strand of work is about training. Our goal is to cultivate the entire field capacity of not only to develop AI ML product, but also to use them to ultimately generate the social goods. For example, we offer training to data scientists, education technology developers through webinar sessions, also through the Hack Week. And we also offer trainings to educators, school administrators as well, to cultivate their capacity of utilizing AI, identify AI product to amplify their work efficiency. And all these training are for free. The last strand of work, but not the least, is public engagement. We timely disseminate the working papers and study instruments, codes, data set to support the scientific discovery in the entire field. We also work with federal, state, local education agency, as well as the platform like Shifting Schools to get the words out and support them to not only develop a relevant AI policy, but also support them in the implementation process.
And this is what I love about your work is even before we started recording, we started talking about there are so many AIs out there that are coming for educators. And as I've been doing trainings all August, I've been telling educators, if it hasn't happened yet, you're going to get every day, there's going to be email of some company saying, try our AI. And we need to be very thoughtful around what AIs we adopt and how these AIs are trained. And what I love is through your research at the University of Washington and AmplifyLearn.ai is taking this real research approach to how do we make sure that it's actually meeting the needs that we say that they are going to meet. How do we make sure that we are doing the training? I love that part of your foundation with Amplify Learn is to support other developers of educational AIs to do the right thing, to not just make an AI that, oh yeah, we can sell these AIs and make lots of money, but actually do something that actually works and is trained to be equitable and unbiased as possible and everything else with it. And I think we need organizations like this supporting us in all of these different realms as this stuff continues to unfold in front of us. Now, through Amplify Learn and all the research that you just talked about, you've been doing, your team has created Colleague.ai, and I'll make sure that there's a link to it in the show notes. If you are an educator and you have not gone and looked at Colleague.ai, you really need to go look at it. First and foremost, and this is my favorite part, it is free. And when it's free, there's no upcharge. There's no, you get part of it for free and then you have to pay us. This thing is 100% absolutely free. Thank you for tuning in to Shifting Schools. Let's pause our discussion to spotlight Libra HQ, a breakthrough in using AI to deepen connections within organizations. Imagine an environment where every staff member feels truly seen and valued. This is the heart of Libra's mission. Libra transforms how leaders celebrate and recognize the personal and professional milestones of their team members. It's not just about reminders. Libra's AI dives deeper, offering insight into enhanced team cohesion and promote a culture where support and acknowledgement are paramount. Picture a school where every individual is acknowledged, from work achievements to personal victories, creating a culture of appreciation in just minutes a day. In these challenging times, where the demands on educators have never been higher, Libra offers a way for school leaders to lead with true empathy and compassion, ensuring every team member feels an integral part of their community's success. Discover how Libra can revolutionize your school's culture. For a demo, contact me at jeff@shiftingschools.com. Let's build a future where every educator and staff member feels connected and valued. And now, let's get back to our conversation. Do you want to talk about how you were able to, all this research that you were doing through Amplify and then creating this AI bot for educators?
Thank you, Jeff. And Colleague.ai, as you mentioned, is a specialized AI assistant for K-12 educators, administrators. We initially designed this trying to solve a famous 21-hour issue that a teacher experienced, in which I will explain more what is the 21-hour issue. Once we start to develop this, we start to work with educators, work with Washington State school districts. We soon realized that to make this as a teaching tool, we need a student-facing version as well. So that is what we are co-developing with student-teacher pairs, with the school districts, to offer really comprehensive solutions to teachers' need. Colleague.ai, the teacher-facing version right now, is available to educators for free. And so Colleague.ai offer comprehensive functionality to support teachers. And so we streamline multiple tasks that a teacher oftentimes do on their own or away from their students, such as like a lesson planning, differentiation, inclusion strategies, and grading, teachers' own professional learning, as well as other type of administrative tasks. This is what we call 21-hour problem. There is a representative national survey of K-12 U.S. educators, and the survey discovery is that K-12 teachers are typically spending about 21 hours in a typical education week to work on tasks. Those are essential for teaching and learning. However, it's very time-consuming, and they take away teachers' energy from what they actually come into this profession for, which is interacting right in front of students, engaging them in their teaching and learning. Those tasks, including in a survey, identify on average, teachers spend about 7 hours per week on individual lesson preparation. They spend about 5 to 6 hours on grading, marking students' work, another 1 or 2 hours to do professional learning, PLC, professional learning communities, right? And keep their own knowledge updated. And then they also do other administrative tasks, paperwork, all sort of things, right? So this is really one of the heavy workload is really one of the number one reason contribute to teachers burnout, stress, and teachers, about half of the teachers in the U.S. K-12 school system leaving teaching profession earlier than they originally planned.
Yeah.
So all this lead us to think about, what if we use technology to stream all those time-consuming yet essential tasks, which allow teachers to actually have the energy, have the time that they can actually spend with their students in the classroom, interacting with the students, building relationship with them. So that is the motivation for Colleague.ai. We're really grateful for the generous federal agency support for the R&D, research and development of Colleague.ai, which is also enable us to offer the latest models for free to all authentic educators. And so we basically got generous funding from the National Science Foundation, as well as the Institute of Educational Science of U.S. Department of Education. We went through the most rigorous scientific review, which also gave us a lot of confidence of offering Colleague.ai to educators because of this scientific review. And so we're at the beginning, Jeff, and we designed this for K-12 educators, administrators. When we start to soft launch it in May, we start to have parents sign up, particularly parents who do homeschooling.
Yeah.
We start to have educators who work for the national parks, for the local clinics. They offer training programs or they offer education programs to youth. Those folks start to sign up as well. So we are overwhelming by the creativity of our users.
Very cool. Very cool. And one of the things I want, and this is one of the things I'd love, and I'd love if you dig into this a little bit, is I want to make sure everybody understands what we're talking about here. This is scientifically researched AI. This isn't just another AI that some tech group threw together and creates lesson plans for you, because they're out there. We know that they're out there, right? But this is actually like the science behind it. You went out, you spent time in classrooms, talking with teachers, giving feedback. Can you talk a little bit about just the research that went into creating Colleague.ai before it was released for all of us to use?
Yeah, that is so important. You just highlight, I see one of the ways in which you can make education product really benefit educators is actually to co-design with them and include them in the whole development process. Their users, on the other hand, they're also the co-designers, co-developers. So we started Colleague.ai actually before ChatGPT came out.
Oh, wow.
Started 2021. We received a National Science Foundation project to think about how do we, at that time, we called machine learning. How do we utilize machine learning strategy to vet the quality of instructional material for teachers? So with the National Science Foundation's support, we conduct surveys and interviews with a total of 500 educators nationwide to help them to get their feedback on what are their pain points. What do they wish education technology, right, really help them to solve? And then we pinpoint to lesson preparation, help teachers to identify high quality instructional materials and help them to modify those materials, cater to their teaching style, their individual students' needs. So from there, we start to co-design with teachers, and we organized a 3 round of co-design, each round with 10 teachers who represent the wide range of teachers' profiles. And so we co-designed with them to develop the low fidelity prototype, mid fidelity, and high fidelity. Then we built the platform. After we built it, and I think with sort of have alpha version
Yeah.
coded around December 23. Then start from January 2024, we work with 20-ish educators, again, primary from Washington State, and then from Oregon, California, and some other places as well. And we started to ask them to label data for us. They also rated on the different AI models, their performance. We run A/B testing with them. We rapidly revise, refine the product and the model based on their feedback and based on their quote unquote the human feedback reinforcement learning, right?
Yeah.
Utilize their feedback to do that part. We also use their labeled data to do fine-tuning of those foundational models in order to embed those education domain knowledge into the model itself. So those are the activity. We're currently still actively having a teacher panel. We're organizing a student panel to work with us together. It's like involving educators, students in technology development is essential to make the product really work for your users. And in addition to this, Jeff, we're still, or I should say, we are planning of working with our partner school district of actively track how the use of Colleague.ai eventually be able to bring benefit to teachers across a variety of instructional tasks, and also how that benefits students' learning. So we're organizing this larger scale study in the real classroom setting.
I so love that. I'm so excited that there's this kind of research being done. It's the kind of stuff that, as somebody who's out there training educators and supporting districts, it's so great to know, because I get asked this question all the time. It's like, well, what kind of research is going into this? And it's so great when I can say, well, actually, there is research being done to make sure that we're doing this and we're coming at this from a really critical lens and making sure it's actually meeting the needs that we need as educators in the support of student learning. You talked about that after you've got Colleague.ai, which is really the teacher focused one, and now you're creating one for students. Are you following that same kind of pathway, like involving students? You talked about having student teacher pairs. Can you talk a little bit about what mean next, or what you're working on there?
Yes. So we realized when we start to work with teachers of using Colleague AI, many of them say that, wow, this will be great. We can offer to our students. We say, don't offer the current version to your students yet, because we built it with educators in mind. If we were to offer Colleague AI to students, we have to design the functionality, the interface, as well as the underlying models more catered to support the students' learning. For example, and when students ask, write a 5-paragraph essay for me, and the AI should not write the 5-paragraph essay. It should say, ask the next question. What are your big ideas? Let's brainstorm idea together, right? Once you identify the idea, the AI should respond, oh, here are some graphic writing guidelines. Let's think about how do you organize your introduction paragraph. So it should be this scaffolding of learning. And that's something we feel like we wanted to design the students-facing version to really serve as a teaching and learning tool. And to do that, we have to work with educators to see what are the scenario use cases they in their classroom interaction with the students AI can support them for. At the same time, we need to get students' feedback and students' use behavior as well to think about, like, how do we scaffold their learning progression of a given mathematical concept, for example? How do we scaffold their writing? And so all of that we would need to work with students. We also typically would need to utilize both teachers and students to label data for us in large amount of data in order to fine-tune the models. And we also need to embed those customized prompts in the back end as well. And we have to test out which model that ultimately generate the result that cater to students' learning needs. So it will need a phase of testing. And right now we already building evaluation or testing pipeline so that we can quickly working with actual users to test out different models and iterate of those models in a rapid pace to get this going as well.
Awesome. And here comes another school year. So you're just right back into it and got teachers and students back in classrooms and ready to go. That's so great. Yeah. And I just love the research that you were doing over there and just the thoughtfulness of creating AI bots with research, both the research going into create them and then the research of, okay, well, now that we're using them, what impact are they truly having on student learning, or what impact are they having on lifting or lightening the load for educators? Because we know things like burnout are really high, and we've got all the statistics of how many hours teachers are spending. As I keep telling teachers in my trainings, I was like, look, my goal in teaching you how to use AI is to get you out from behind the computer and get you back in front of kids.
Exactly.
That's what we want. Is the sooner I can get you out from behind a computer and back in front of kids, the more heartwarming it is for us, the more we know that's the most impactful place that teachers have is in front of kids. And so let's create something that can lighten that load for you and learn to leverage it and use it in a way so that you can get back in front of kiddos, which is where you belong and what you can do anyway. I just love the research you're doing over there. Educators, are you searching for a new space to connect, collaborate, and grow? Well, Camp Shifting Schools is your new home. With the decline of X, formerly Twitter, we're here to offer a safe, welcoming community where you can join other passionate teachers. Take part in free courses, webinars, and live AMA sessions to evaluate your practice. Ready to join the conversation? Head over to camp.shiftingschools.com and become part of the camp community today. Learning and connecting awaits. As we continue here, one of the things we're doing in this mini series as talking to professors like yourself, those in the university, is talking about the shift in higher education in using AI within programs. You were at the University of Washington. What are you hearing or seeing from professors and their use of adopting AI or using AI? And can you talk about the work that you're doing is in K-12? Part of what we need to be doing in K-12 is supporting kids who end up at the University of Washington or other universities to be prepared to use AI within those classes as well. Can you talk about what some of the work that's happening now just at the higher education part of University of Washington?
Yes. So to some degree, like this AI wave hit everybody at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So higher ed probably at a very similar place as K-12 at this moment. At UW in the last school year, the faculty were actively exploring their different way of integrating AI in their business, in their work, which including like scientific discovery, research, and teaching, learning, outreach activities as well. Faculty, of course, have across the range, the spectrum,
just like
right?
everywhere else.
Just like everybody else. And so some faculty, because their own research, UW faculty actually leading in the field of AI machine learning development. We have over 100 data science courses across these three campuses. We also do technology, innovation, transfer, spin-off as well. So many faculty have the expertise as well as motivation to think about how do they revise their learning objectives in their courses, how to develop new courses, how to even reorganize their instructional materials and redefine what is cheating in classroom and how to design in assessment practices in a way that allows students to leverage AI as a learning tool rather than ban the use of AI in their course. We also have the faculty still wondering, is this an AI hype?
Yeah.
And is the bubble going to eventually burst? All this to say that we're exploring, and our provost office is actively leading the conversation across all three campuses. So last school year, we organized 4 working groups and in areas such as research, teaching and learning, student success, infrastructure in terms of how do we beef up our cloud services as well, computational services, and then administration, how may facilitate human resources management as well as financial system. The working group made recommendations to the provost office, and this school year, the provost office can organize town hall meetings and surveys with the broader faculty to get input, revise. So I'd be happy to come back to the pod in the future to share with you more when the plan come out. So all this to say that we're actively exploring, like many other institutions, like many other folks now confronting AI. How do we leverage AI to do our business, amplify both our own productivity as well as the learning opportunities we offer to our students?
Yeah. And thank you for sharing that, because I want K-12 educators who are listening to this to be able to say, hey, that sounds like exactly what we're doing in our district. We've got an AI committee, or we've got an AI team, and we're trying to figure out how do we create policy, or what do we do with this, or where does it go? And I think it's just great whenever we get to hear we're not the only people dealing with this in our district, in our classroom. Like, to your point, it hit everybody. Every industry got hit at the same time, every educational institution. And everybody's trying to figure out what to do with this. And we're all in that, whatever that means for us and where we're at. And University of Washington is a massive research university. So you're going to be moving just a little bit slower than, say, a rural school district that's got 30 employees. But yeah, I'd love to have you back on when we know where are the universities landing on this, and what are some of the things they're putting in place. You do a lot of research in this. And again, you've been doing this since before ChatGPT came out. Like, you were already doing a lot of this and into this research. If you had a crystal ball and could look into the future, where do you see generative AI heading in education and its ultimate impact on the PK-12 system, and even maybe in higher ed? Where do you see this going in the research you've been doing for the last couple of years?
Yeah, what I observe both in the research as well as education technology development, the tools, the method, the models, I think will evolve on a rapid pace. But in terms of the use case, what we develop the technology for are mainly to augment what we traditionally teach, what we traditionally learn. In the future, I'm hoping AI technology development can eventually transform what we teach, how we learn. Because in terms of like teaching and learning, what we do now is what we do decades ago, right?
Yeah.
So because of this wave of a technology is so transformative, I'm hoping that our education system can eventually be transformed. For example, AI could potentially make learning a whole lot more personalized. In the classroom, it won't be just the two agents, teacher and students. There may be potentially three agents, right? Dynamically interacting with one another. We have teachers, we have students, we have AI in the classroom as an agent. And so the AI can dynamically generate learning material, create learning activity, learning opportunities for students and teachers to engage in. And based on how teachers and students engaged, AI can dynamically adapt and generate new material, new activities. So that, I feel, is the adaptive learning we really wanted, or personalized the learning we really wanted for decades in education.
Agreed.
They actually taking place. The other is I see like learning can become a whole lot more collaborative as well. The immersive mean like the multi-model or multimodal, multi-agent models, right? And imagine like in a math classroom or in a science classroom, students not just learning this abstract, complex concept, they can actually see how those concepts unfold right in front of their eyes. They can manipulate the 3D visualization of a mathematical function, for example, right? And imagine that type of immersed dynamic learning environment, and students can collaborate with their peers to do problem solving, and students collaborate with teachers. They co-learn in the process as well. So in my sort of anticipation or expectation, I hope AI can have a big impact. How do we teach? How do we learn? But to do, Jeff, to just echo what you mentioned, that researchers and tech developers really need to be thoughtful about how to design this, embedding our best knowledge of effective teaching and learning, and particularly students' learning in product development, and keep track of the impact of the product that they develop on students' learning as well, because ultimately instruction, learning, education is probably the highest social value, right? Education technology can generate.
Yeah.
And therefore, I think all the ed tech developers need to have this social responsibility of developing product that they feel or at least tested, validated, that can benefit students' learning.
I love that. And I'm so excited for everything that you're talking about. And if you've been around AI even a little bit at this point, you can see everything you're talking about. Like I can, in my mind's eye, I can see that stuff coming to fruition. And it's going to mean that we're going to have to, at all levels of education, we're going to have to rethink what some of this stuff means. I was talking with a district I was doing training with, and we were just talking about, a lot of times we talk about how AI and where we're going with AI and the adoption we're at right now anyway in K-12 schools is much like it was with the calculator. And we were talking about this, and one of the things we found interesting is, for a long time when the calculator came out, we said, we don't know what this is going to do to student learning. We didn't know if kids were never going to learn math again. And we had all these issues of what we thought the calculator might do or what it could do, but we really didn't know. And the new technology is here and it's not going away. And over time, we figured it out to the point where today, the calculator's been out now for 30, 40 years, more than 50 years in schools. And we are now doing pre-algebra in 7th grade. And part of us being able to do pre-algebra in 7th grade is because we have technology that allows us to teach math differently at different levels. We don't have to spend so much time doing things that we used to have to do because we've got calculators. And because we have calculators, it's allowed us to now do trigonometry, which when I was in school, we didn't even have trigonometry classes. Like you couldn't even get there. And now we have trigonometry in high schools because we have pre-algebra in 7th grade. I took pre-algebra as a 10th grader. It's just how fast, when you start thinking about just that piece of technology and its impact on what it allowed us to do in the math world, you're looking at another technology that it's hard to even think about. Well, we teach research, like most students in school do their first research project, their state project or their animal project around 3rd grade. Well, maybe it won't be around 3rd grade. Maybe we'll be able to have that in 2nd grade.
Yeah.
And if that's in 2nd grade, what's happening in 5th grade? And where are we in 7th? And it just goes like, where does this actually support us in thinking more critical and just doing things differently? I don't know. It's an interesting kind of concept when you think of it, of where does that end at the end?
Yeah, I think that the analog is very powerful, what you offered. The other thing is just based on our own interaction with educators. For example, like Colleague.ai. On that platform, we offer one functionality of generating a lesson from scratch based on teachers' learning objective, their state learning standards. After the generation of the lesson material, there is a function called run simulation. When you click that button, the multi-agent, there are multiple agents in the background, and we have 3 students, 3 AI student agents represent like 3 student profiles. Then we have a teacher agent. Then we have a reviewer serve as a coach or mentor for the teacher. So when the educators click run simulation, is actually run the simulation of the lessons the educator created or the AI generated, and then be able to see what kind of question each of the students may ask the educators, how the agent, Ms. Johnson, and respond to these three students' questions. And then towards the end, the AI reviewer, which serves as a coach, basically say, based on the simulation, here is my feedback to you of how do you further improve your lesson. And it also offer, this is the way you improve it. The rationale behind it is because I draw on the NCTM standard or the best practice of teaching math.
Sure.
Right? It even give the rationale behind the recommendation. When our users, teacher users, start to use this functionality, their comments is, this is not going to replace my job. It's actually make my training more relevant, making my expertise as an educator more relevant, because now I can spend the time to thinking about how do I modify, how do I make my lesson much better, rather than scramble, put materials together and have something to present to students right before class. So teachers' time now spent on creativity, spend on critical thinking, spend on refinement and modification, which is exactly to your point that enable us, a human, to do a whole lot more.
Yeah. It allows us to do so much more. It's so cool. And it's so just fascinating to think where it's going to go. It's such a great time to be in education. It really is. I hope educators feel that way. I hope you're excited to be an educator these days because of everything you're saying. We're in a moment in time where you get to be more of a critical thinker. We get to know our kids and modify, and you have the support of AI to help you modify and personalize learning for every kid in your classroom. There's no better time to be an educator than right now, for sure. And I'm so excited to continue to follow your research and the stuff that you're creating there through Amplify Learn and the University of Washington. Dr. Minsun, thank you so much for spending time with us today. If listeners want to reach out to you to learn more about the work that you're doing, of course, I will have links to AmplifyLearn.ai and Colleague.ai, which every educator needs to go and try out for sure, in the show notes. If people want to follow you, if they want to follow the research you're doing, what's a good place for them to do that?
Both LinkedIn and X.com.
Yeah.
And we also, Colleague.ai has social media presence in most of the major social media platform. So feel free to connect with Colleague.ai on social media as well. And you can also Google me, Minsun, at University of Washington. You will find my email address, and feel free to connect with me via email too.
Excellent. Excellent. And you're still giving workshops. So if teachers need support in learning how to use Colleague.ai, I'm just over on the website right now. And up at the top, if you're over there, Colleague.ai, you can go down to workshops, and you're continuing to do workshops and doing webinars to support teachers and learning how to use the tool, correct?
Exactly. So we now organize monthly free webinars every Friday, and not every Friday of a month. And so every month we offer a webinar to offer different knowledge, and not just sort of the skills knowledge you can leverage all the functionality built on Colleague AI, but also some skills that is transferable to any other AI powered technology platform. So the next one we have will be on September 16, Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. Pacific time. And it's again free, open to everyone. Feel free to join us and learn. The topic will be how to write effective prompts for AI chatbot.
Oh, very good.
Again, you can utilize in any sort of AI-powered chatbot. And after that, we wanted to also let folks know that Colleague AI designed is not just a simple chatbot, because AI can do whole lot more than chatting with you, and such as the simulation, such as the nudging and grading and many other things we offer. And therefore, we're going to organize all training sessions to let you know that how to leverage on all this functionality, not just the chatbot, to improve your work efficiency.
I love it. I love it. Well, I already have my account over there, and I just go in and check in it every once in a while. I haven't seen the button to run the simulation, so I need to go check that out, because you're blowing my mind over here. It's just amazing what these things are doing. It's so great. Dr. Minsun, thank you so much for taking time with us today and chatting with us here on the podcast, and look forward to following you and seeing where this research leads. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I really enjoyed it.
Hey there, dedicated listener. If you've made it this far, we know you're passionate about shifting the way education works. And Tricia and I appreciate you. If you loved what you heard today, we'd be so grateful if you could take a moment to rate and review Shifting Schools wherever you listen to podcasts. Those ratings help us reach even more educators just like you. And if you know someone who could benefit from these conversations, please share this episode with them. Just one person. Think of the impact we can make together. Don't forget to sign up for our newsletter for even more great content. And if you haven't already, join us at Camp Shifting Schools, where the conversations keep going long after the podcasts end. Thank you for being a part of this journey, and thank you for being part of Shifting Schools.